and that's it. But as you look around Malawi, you've got people standing around eating sugar cane, and it's like you've got to get whatever you can get. Now, in this country, we've got benefits and all that sort of thing, and you can claim something. Over there, you can't claim anything. So if you don't steal or you don't have a job, bearing in mind that 80% of Malawians are unemployed. So what you've got is you've got a town of people aimlessly wandering around with nothing to do. In the house that we stayed at, there was no water, there was no electric. And
can I just ask, is that a common thing that there's no water and no electric?
It is a common thing.
So it's like, what, 80% of the houses or something?
Yeah.
Wow. So 80% of homes, no water, no electric.
Yeah.
And people are used to that. They haven't seen television. They don't know what our sort of media is like at all.
There is television over there. There are houses that have satellite dishes, believe it or not.
Right.
But these are sort of the companies or company managers that drive nice cars and have television. And some of them have even got fridges. Yeah. So some of them have really got luxuries.
The sort of 1% of the population.
Yeah, most of them have nothing at all. It's just either a square or a round mud hut with nothing in it at all. Nazareth's house had one rack of pots and pans, which was later stolen, and the clothes that they wear. And that's it. They don't have possessions of any sort.
Yeah, I think this is where I find it incredibly hard to imagine my life without any possessions. I mean, as a child, thinking about Christmas and presents that I was going to get, my birthday presents, and the kind of materialists that we are over here, just to think that their mentality is that they don't look forward to having possessions or getting new possessions. All they want to do is get some food in their stomach, and that's their aspiration, is just to get food in their stomach. Which is a very, very simple thing for us, and a very extremely painful thing to us to come to terms with. And I think that's why, so many people like myself have steered away from even beginning to go there in our minds, because of the horror that you've faced over there, the reality that you've faced up to. Yeah. So what other things? I'm sorry I cut across you then. What other things you told us about the mug cakes and the fact that they don't have very many possessions and they haven't got the electricity or the water. What other things did you notice about Africa particularly?
What I noticed in northern Rumphi, which is the top end of Malawi, is, in fact, I was over there for 3 weeks and I didn't see a toy. Not one toy, not a hint of a toy. When we went into the northern district, we pulled into a place that was in total darkness, apart from a few candles. And to me, it looks like a place that time forgot. It looks like a place that the world has forgot. It's just. We saw witch doctors there. Spoke to the witch doctors with their bottles full of bones and bits and pieces, and
so. They believe in it. Do they predominantly believe in that sort of thing, or are they Christians?
Witchcraft is 100%.
Witchcraft is 100% then. So they all believe in that sort of juju stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are they frightened of it?
So yeah. Basically, the two guys we spoke to. I mean, I'd rather be ill, to be totally honest. When you see it, and I said to him, what is this? Oh, well, this cures the stomach, and this cures this, and this cures that. You wouldn't buy a second-hand car off him, but and he looked like a witch doctor,
Yeah. So what sort of remedies was he coming up with for these ailments? What sort of things did he?
Well, he had like what we know as lemonade bottles with bits of wood in and bits of stone in, and like a juice that I don't really want to describe. And basically, I said to him, "So what does this do?" He said, "Oh, if you've got a headache, you drink this." Mm-hmm. If you've got a backache, you drink this, and he's got a whole table full of tortoise shells, and it just looked like a table full of wood and bones and things.
And that is like their doctor. Yeah. So that is like their hospital, their doctor, their nurse, all in one. Their clinic.
They do have a clinic.
Do they?
Yeah. And apparently in Africa somewhere is a hospital that is far more advanced. The machinery in it is far more advanced than either this country or America. Now, where that is, I don't know. What I did see is lots of AIDS clinics, lots of medical centres.
Talking about AIDS, there, I think that's a subject that we should cover on during this interview, because that's one of the main problems, isn't it? Where you went, is that AIDS is rife, and that's particularly one of the things that was on your heart, was to actually look after the children that were orphaned because of this epidemic.
Yeah.
And what's the stats on that, Roy? I mean,
there's at that time, people say, well, I can give you a figure, but that figure has increased since then and continues to increase. The figure on that is 600,000 orphans in Malawi.
So 600,000 orphans just in Malawi.
7 people die every minute of AIDS.
In Africa?
Yep. You don't see families in Malawi. You don't see them. You see, if you see old people, it's very rare. In fact, old people stand out like maybe a coloured person would stand out here.
Right.
Hard to, you don't see them.
So it's almost like a genocide thing that you feel.
The whole generation is gone.
That is really alarming. Very. That must have been extremely strange for you to go somewhere where there are no adults.
Yeah, it's like somebody's taken a world full of black young guys and put them all in one place.
Yeah.
What they do on the side of the road is they have wheelbarrows. They take the wheelbarrow part off.
Yeah.
And they put straps around it, and that's a taxi. So if you need wood moving, then they'll do it with the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Or you've got men, especially in the bus station, they'll come along, and you've got grown men trying to sell you child's helicopters, and toys and mirrors and fruit and boiled eggs and sweets, and everybody's trying to make something.
Any opportunity to make
anything they
penny.
can do to make. Yeah.
Well, understandably, if that's all the only resource they've got, understandably, to scratch a living and to live like that, which is incredible for us to think of. So these children, what happened? I mean, their parents died.
Yeah, the parents died. Sadly, the plan is how pastors and leaders work over there. And where they get this from, I haven't got a clue. But basically, the pastor looks after his flock. Now, if the father dies of the children, then the pastor sees it as his role to look after the wife. Okay, in all aspects. Yeah. So while he's busy looking after the wife, then the AIDS is continuing to be spread. And they see that as okay. This is something that I had to address with the pastors. I had to have 7 or 8 pastors in the room and say, look, in order for us to work together, we have to work by the Bible and what the Lord says. I'm not over here to sort of tell you what to do, but things have got to change. You cannot continue to do what you're doing and expect the Lord to bless it.
So there's no education there. There's no guidance about how to contain AIDS. There's no guidance about birth control or any of those things. No. So that's just astonishing, isn't it? When you think that it's got such a sort of pandemic proportion, and these people just don't have any organised education about it either. That's remarkable and horrific to think of. So these children, their parents have passed, and what about them? Do the children themselves have AIDS?
Yeah, the children have AIDS. 40% of babies born to mothers with HIV will actually contract AIDS.
Okay.
So it's ongoing.
So that means that 40% have AIDS. And what's their life expectancy if they've got AIDS?
The average age of a male is 37.
So,
but then, and the figure escapes me at the moment, but there's a great percentage of babies and mothers that actually die at birth. And the reason for that is because there's no medical aid, there's no nurses, no doctors. They're having babies in mud huts on earth floors, and basically the mothers and the babies are dying. And I think that was, I don't want to quote the wrong figure, I think that was 1 in 10.
1 in 10?
1 in 10 is dying, mother and baby.
That's horrific.
I've also learnt this last fortnight that medication is being given to some mothers over there, but because they can't read and they can't write, they don't know how to take the medication, so they're either not taking it or they're taking all of it, and it's basically killing them.